Hey everybody, today just wanted to do a quick video on SFTP in LabVIEW. So as of, I can't remember exactly when, a few years ago, and I introduced the SFTP functions in LabVIEW. And for those who may not know, SFTP is essentially just a secure version of FTP, which is a file transfer protocol. So it allows you to transfer files to remote targets. You can upload, download, delete, etc. The S just stands for secure, meaning that this is all encrypted. So you can't have someone act as like a man in the middle and intercept these different requests and the file data and whatnot going back and forth. So these are the SFTP functions. You have a connect and disconnect, and the connect is polymorphic. So you can see here, there's some different options. You also can drop specific ones if you don't want the polymorphic. And I'll talk about what the differences between those are in just a sec. I can upload files. So you see I can just basically link it to a file and tell it where to put it on the remote target. I can download files. It works exactly the same, just in reverse. I can delete files. I can rename files on the remote target. I can create folders. I can get information about certain directories, and I can delete directories. There also are some advanced functions that you can use to get specific information about files and whatnot, and even symbolic paths and stuff. So I have just a simple example here. So I've got a compact Rio at this IP address, and I'm going to connect to it using the SFTP functions. So specifically, I'm going to use PuTTY. So those who don't know what PuTTY is basically just a serial. Most often used for serial testing, but it does a whole bunch of other stuff too. And it also works well for like SSH. I can connect to an SSH target, and SFTP really just is SSH for transferring files. So you can use OpenSSH or you can use PuTTY. So for this connect function, I just need to pass in my basically username and then the IP address of my target. There's also a timeout down here, and you can optionally pass in a client, which is basically this specific class. Reasons you might want to do that are you can use property nodes to configure some stuff about your client. So different details about maybe passwords, trusting on first use. If you were using an abnormal port, you can override that there. But if you're using pretty much the standard configuration, you do not need to connect that at all. From there, I'm just going to use the list directory function and I'm just listing the root directory on the compact Rio, and that's just going to return this array of file attributes that I'm iterating through and getting the name of each file and the type. So file being either a file or a folder or a symbolic path. And then when I'm done, I'm going to just close out that connection. So one thing that you will want to be careful with, if you're using these functions, you will first want to establish a connection to your target from either PuTTY. If you're using PuTTY, either through PuTTY or through Plink. So one way you can do that is just type in Plink. You'd have to install PuTTY and type in Plink and then your session, and you'll get this message saying, hey, we're not sure who this is. This is the fingerprint we're getting. Do you trust this host? And you'll just want to enter a Y, and basically it says access granted, and now it'll return to my session. So then I can use SSH functions with my target, for example, like uptime, stuff like that, etc. But when I'm done, I just type in exit. So you'll want to do that first. What that does is it actually stores a list of fingerprints on your local file system, and if the connection you're trying to use isn't already in there, the LabVIEW functions aren't going to work. So when I first started playing with these, I couldn't figure out why nothing would connect. And the reason was just I needed to go into the terminal, whether you're using, if you're using OpenSSH, same thing, right? You just want to establish that connection first. I think there's actually a help article from NI about that specifically now, but at first I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, and that was all it was. So yeah, now let's run this. And we get our data, right? So this is just name folder /files. And I can see all of these. And then here I'm displaying the type. So whether these are directories, symbolic links, or actual files. So there you go. So that would be a simple way to just get information about a certain directory. And from there, you can go on and you can upload files, download files, etc. So you can do anything you can do through different SFTP or file transfer programs like FileZilla. So you can build your own tools securely in LabVIEW. And yeah, in my example, I connected using PuTTY. You can also connect just the same using OpenSSH. So yeah, that would be how you can use SFTP in LabVIEW to connect to remote SFTP servers. So thanks for watching.
Canon Controls is your gateway to mastering LabVIEW. Dive into programming for data acquisition, industrial communications, and manufacturing automation. Explore how to enhance your projects with cybersecurity best practices. Join the journey to elevate your skills and secure your systems with every episode.